Vodka Guy.
So, you set this TMDB listing over, and it's for a movie called Cesium Fallout. I gotta say, the title alone, kind of chilling, right?
Oh, absolutely. Just kind of grabs you. It's like almost like a siren, danger, intrigue.
Right, like something big is about to happen.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I dove in. It's not your typical, alien invasion, end of the world,
Right.
meteor strike kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is a radiation disaster movie set in Hong Kong.
See, and that's interesting on like a couple of different levels, I think.
Okay.
Because, we think Hong Kong cinema, we think, the kinetic energy, the gritty crime thrillers,
Right.
martial arts epics.
Yeah.
But a nuclear disaster movie.
It's different, and I
Yeah.
think what they call out in the listing is that it is the first radiation disaster movie for Hong Kong.
Wow.
So, I mean, we've all seen our fair share of Hollywood disaster movies.
That's farce.
But,
But there's something about this that feels different. Yes.
more immediate.
Yes. I think it's the setting, because you think about Hong Kong, it is such a dense urban environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like 7 million people crammed into these towering skyscrapers.
And that's exactly what they're saying in the listing is picture that as the backdrop when you have some kind of radiation emergency unfolding. I mean, talk about
Oh, yeah.
instant tension.
Pressure cooker. City becomes a pressure cooker.
Right.
And the tagline, will Hong Kong wake up to an overnight annihilation?
Ooh. Talk about high stakes, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But it's not just the setting
Yeah.
and the tagline that caught my eye. This movie's got some serious star power behind
Oh,
it.
yeah.
We're talking Andy Lau.
Karen Mack.
Okay, those are names that command attention even outside of just Hong Kong cinema.
Exactly. Andy Lau. It's like, you imagine Denzel Washington doing a Hollywood disaster movie.
Yeah,
He's going to bring that
that intensity.
gravitas.
Absolutely.
He can carry the weight of the world on his shoulders, and you just...
And it turns out he's playing this character, Simon Fan. And they actually list him as an expert
Okay.
who's brought in to deal with the situation. So it's you got the disaster itself, but then you've got this whole other layer of what does that even mean to have the expertise to tackle a radiation crisis?
Right. And what are the stakes for him personally?
Totally. And then it gets even more interesting. So Karen Mock's character, it's not just some random supporting role.
Okay.
She's playing the acting chief executive.
Wow.
So now you got this whole other layer of political drama just thrown into the mix.
Oh, for sure. It's what happens, right, when you have that scientific urgency butting heads with political maneuvering.
Right.
You've got the expert who's saying, this is what we got to do.
Yeah.
And then you have, the political side where it's how do we manage this? How do we manage public perception?
And probably a whole lot of red tape. I mean, you know how these things go.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's where the drama gets really amped up.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about containing a physical threat like radiation, but you've got to manage the
human element?
Yes. The fear, the potential for chaos.
But the big question, right? Who do you trust when everything's falling apart?
That's such a great point, because that resonates even beyond just, what we see on the screen. Because, I mean, think about it. In our own lives, how much do we have to place trust in these experts and these leaders, especially in those moments of uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
So it's this movie's tapping into that primal anxiety I think we all feel.
Oh, for sure. And hopefully giving us some characters along the way that we can really...
But compelling characters.
Yes.
Speaking of which, Ray, you mentioned this movie boasts a seriously impressive cast.
Oh, yeah. We just mentioned a couple. But besides Andy Lau and Karen Mock, you got Swan Ho, Ivana Wong, Bowie Lam. I mean, these aren't small names.
Yeah, these are
big, Hong Kong film and television stars.
Yeah. So that makes you think, for them to assemble a cast like this script must be something special, right? They're seeing something really special in this project.
For sure. You know what else caught my eye?
What's that?
On the TMDB listing, it says November 1st, 2024, release date in China.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that's coming up fast.
It is, yeah.
Any word on international release?
Not that I could find. And I think when you have a movie that's potentially this, sensitive, dealing with these big themes of disaster, political leadership, makes you wonder, how would this play, on a global stage?
It's we get this glimpse, right, with the title so evocative, so intriguing.
Right.
But there's still this air of mystery around it.
Yeah, totally. And that actually kind of brings us to, something that really piqued my curiosity. That original Chinese title you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even for someone like me who doesn't speak Chinese, those characters, even just visually,
Right.
there's something about them.
It's more visceral, isn't it? Like you said, Cesium fallout, it's accurate, right?
Yeah.
But it's almost clinical.
Right.
Whereas Philly, like
Yeah.
you said, it's like you feel the heat.
Yes.
You feel the destruction.
Yeah.
Just the weight of history behind those strokes.
Absolutely. And it makes you realize, how much gets lost in translation sometimes, even with
Yeah.
something as simple as a title, It's like we're getting this little puzzle, right? It's like a doorway into this whole other cultural perspective.
Yeah.
Not just on the film itself, but I think even on
Yeah, disasters
themselves. Yeah.
Exactly.
How do we even process this?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it makes you want to watch it with subtitles and learn Chinese at the same time.
Absolutely.
Just to really catch it all,
I know, right? It's like you want that full experience.
Yeah.
But I mean, even with the information we do have, right, it's very clear this is not just some mindless action flick. You know what I mean? It's really trying to grapple with these bigger questions, like how do we deal with crises, on a mass scale? The burdens of leadership, the resilience of, the human spirit.
And let's be real, that's a lot more interesting than watching a bunch of CGI buildings crumble for 2 hours.
1,000%, yeah. Give me that human element any day,
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes Cesium Fallout so intriguing. It's using that disaster movie framework, but it's exploring something much, much deeper, something inherently human.
Right. And like you said, I mean, it really makes you think,
Yeah.
how would we react? Right. Like if we woke up tomorrow morning and our city was facing this invisible threat, right?
Exactly.
Potentially deadly. Would we panic?
Yeah.
Would we come together?
Right,
Would we
right.
trust the experts? Would we trust our leaders? I mean,
Would we even know who to trust?
right. It's a scary thought, but I think, it's also a good reminder that, these fictional scenarios, they often reflect very real anxieties that we have.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes exploring those anxieties, even through that fictional lens can be a way for us to kind of process those things, maybe find some kind of catharsis.
Right. Totally.
Maybe Cesium Fallout will give us some answers, or at the very least, it'll give us some food for thought, along with the thrills and chills.
Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely shot to the top of my must-watch list. So to everyone listening, keep an eye out. Cesium Fallout. You might have to do a little digging, I have a feeling.
Oh, yeah.
To actually track it down once it's out. But
Yeah, it's going to be one of those. Got to hunt for it.
but it sounds like it's going to be worth it.
Absolutely. I think so, yeah. Because it really is. It's that reminder that some of the most compelling stories out there, they come from those unexpected places.
Yeah.
Exploring that new territory and really challenging our perception.
Well said. That's what we like to do here.
There you go.
Thanks for taking us on the deep dive today. I feel like I learned a lot, even beyond
You did.
the TMDB listing. So
Oh, that's what it's all about. Like we were saying, you got to dig a little deeper, find those hidden gems.
absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to doing it again. So
Me too.
until next time.
Avocados.